I think we can all agree that YouTube is a fantastic platform where you can basically watch cat videos for 10 hours straight. Or if you really want to, you can always look up a tutorial to learn something new, such as baking a cake, how to wear a tie properly, or in today's case, how to drive a car as an 8-year-old. Hello! Welcome to Brain Spill, the laziest show on the internet. My name is Tank, and today's story is one of intrigue, and to be perfectly honest, when I was 8 years old, I wasn't thinking about driving a car, but somewhere on the internet you can find that information. This story is pretty remarkable and intriguing all the same. So, in April 2017, a young 8-year-old boy from East Palestine, Ohio, was sat at home and, I imagine, scrolling through tons of videos online. YouTube has pretty much everything an 8-year-old could ever want. Enough content and entertainment to keep them preoccupied. And like any modern parents, they'll probably just turn on YouTube and let their kids watch whatever comes on, just to get them out of their hair for 5 minutes. Ah, true parenting at its finest. And, as you might imagine, most 8-year-olds, when they want something, they will either ask for it, or within reasonable contemplation, they might go out of their way to try and get it. So when this 8-year-old boy decides that he really wants a McDonald's, one would normally ask your parents to drive you to Mackey's to go get one. And thinking back to whenever I was younger, whenever I asked my parents for McDonald's, the answer, 9 times out of 10, was a resounding no. Mainly because they don't want to make a specialist trip to go out just to get me a McDonald's. I mean, we only normally ever went if it was either a special occasion or whether we'd just been on a long trip somewhere. So if it was me when I was 8, I got a little bit grumpy when I was told no, and then I got distracted with Pokemon cards or something. However, the 8-year-old boy we're going to be talking about in today's story wasn't taking no for an answer. So he went to YouTube and searched for a tutorial on how to drive a car. And using that knowledge, an 8-year-old then stole his dad's van and drove to a local McDonald's. Yes, you can't make this shit up. An 8-year-old learned how to drive online, figured out how to steal the keys, and then drive without supervision. This all sounds pretty unbelievable, and the fact that you're 8 years old and you can drive a van, it's just a bit crazy. And to be fair, I gotta hand it to the kid, because I don't think I could have done that when I was 8. To be fair, I probably wouldn't have even dared. I would have got whooped across the ass if I tried to take my dad's car keys. And yes, that's what he did, somehow. Managing to do all of this without his dad knowing, it's pretty baller in itself. But what makes this even better is that after stealing his dad's keys for his van, his 4-year-old sister rides shotgun with him in the car so she can get a cheeseburger from McDonald's as well. He managed to get the keys, get into the van, and drive to McDonald's, miraculously didn't total the car. I mean, how did he even see over the wheel? Was he sat on some books to get higher so he can look over onto the road? And apparently when he was driving, he obeyed all traffic lights, street signs, so making sure that if he was going to drive the car, he was going to drive it correctly. I mean, I'm not condoning the fact that you're going to steal your dad's van to go get a McDonald's, but if you were going to do it, you're going to do it right, and you're going to make sure that you obey all of those traffic laws. The police were called only once he'd managed to pull up to the drive-thru and pulled out his piggy bank to buy him and his sister some McDonald's. And when the staff at the McDonald's saw a young boy driving a van, got quite suspicious and started asking questions. Particularly because the fact that there was an 8-year-old in the driver's seat and a 4-year-old riding passenger. As a matter of fact, the staff originally thought that this was actually a prank and were looking out for the parents, but after they realised that the kids had actually driven themselves there, no cap, then they knew that there was something wrong here. This wasn't a prank, bro. This was the real deal. 8-year-olds at the wheel is the new in thing, apparently. Patrolman Jake Coelho got the call on the radio on Sunday night with reports of a child driving a car, which I don't know if this is a normal day's work for a police patrolman, but as things go, this raises more questions than answers. When he asked the kid what he was doing, his simple answer was as follows: "Me and my sister really wanted a cheeseburger." Well, officer, at least you've got to give it to him that he's completely and brutally honest about why he did this. And he even told the officer there and then that the reason that he knew how to drive the van was because of YouTube. The van he was using didn't even have power steering, meaning that the boy would have had to have used a fair bit of muscle to turn the steering wheel, let alone be able to reach the pedals and see out of the front windscreen at the same time. Like I said, he must have been sat on something to be able to have seen over the wheel in the first place. I just don't understand how this was feasible in any other way. When the policeman turned up to question the young boy about everything, he started to cry because he thought that he was in trouble, which is really sad because he just wants a cheeseburger, officer. Just let him off easy, okay? Maybe I'm just giving him too much credit, but I mean, if a kid can steal a van at 8 years old, who knows what he's capable of? I think there's a good teaching point here. With the way technology is anymore, kids will learn how to do anything and everything. This kid learned how to drive on YouTube. He probably looked it up for 5 minutes and then said it was time to go. To go out and not break any traffic laws, in fact, obey them, I'll give him credit for that. Especially learning from a YouTube video. That's something else. Honest to God, I've been a patrolman for 2 years, and I don't think I will have anything like this for the rest of my career. As a matter of fact, in case you were wondering, this wasn't a case of neglect or anything like that. In fact, it all ended okay because the police officer took the children to the station after giving them some McDonald's, and the parents came and picked them up. Although no charges were pressed, you can imagine that the parents had a few questions for their kids once they got back home. I mean, his mother probably had a few questions as to the kind of things he was looking at online to be able to learn how to do this, but more so she probably had some further questions for his dad, mainly because of the fact that he obviously left his keys in such a place where an 8-year-old can easily get to them, which is never a good idea. Okay, so nothing really bad happened in the end, and all ended positively as it could have done. But this does go to show how much information there is on the internet. It's a very powerful resource, and even with an 8-year-old, you can learn so many things from fellow creators on the platform. And although he probably got an absolute pasting from his parents when he got back, really it almost sounds like a bit of a wake-up call to the parents as well, to allow this to even happen. So what I can learn from this is a few things. First and foremost, maybe look at your parental guidance settings on YouTube to make sure that maybe they're just watching Peppa Pig instead of tutorials on how to drive a car. And second, like I said, keep the keys away from the kids. I mean, if you don't want them driving a van, then don't give them the keys to do it in the first place. You know what? Next time they come and ask you for a McDonald's, the best answer might be just yes. Get in the car, I'll drive you down, we'll get you that cheeseburger. Don't steal the van to get what you need. Okay? Okay. If you like the video, be sure to like and subscribe. If you want to be notified as soon as I upload my next video, be sure to hit the bell button. And if you've got any ideas for what topics you'd like me to discuss next, let me know down in the comments below. As always, sources used in the video will be in the description. Right, I'm going to go on YouTube and look at a tutorial for something. I mean, to be honest, you can probably type in anything and someone will have probably made a tutorial about it. So, the world's your oyster. I'll see you guys in the next video. Fantastic.